What I'm going to do now is to revisit a little printing of a square which I had tried earlier. It was my very first test print, and I'm just going to see if this time round I can end up with a better result. The loops didn't properly stick before, and I've done a little bit of calibration since, so fingers crossed this is going to turn out better. So what I'm going to do is, in this object placement tab here on the right hand side, I have the ability to add an STL file, and I've got some calibration models, and Hollow Cube was the calibration one which I first tried, and so I'm just added. Oh no, that's not the one. I'm going to remove that one. It's a good chance to show you how you do things. You go, did that wrong. Over here we've just got a straight remove STL file, clears it up, and away we go. We're going to add an STL file, and this wonderfully named box there, this was down from Thingiverse, and on the left hand side I've just clicked and dragged, and you can see it's a very, very thin box from that way. On the left here we've got different ways of adjusting how we view it, which can be handy, as sometimes where it rotates makes it a little bit hard to see what you're doing. Now we've got the object placement tab. Next one is the slicer one. I've got some configurations which I've made based on Ian Johnson of the Solidoodle tips blog fame. He has produced some brilliant videos and some other wonderful written content to show you how to start with repetier. So I've put them in there. I'm happy. I'm using Slicer. SceneForge is something I'm probably going to try later on, because I like the idea of the raft setting where you can put something beneath it, just a little bit of a grid printing, which will help with objects that are a little on the thin side, from what I understand. But I'm going to be using Slicer at the moment because it seems quite straightforward, and I'm going to press the Slice with Slicer option, and that's going to go through and think about it and generate the G code, which are the instructions for the printer to print out. And on the left now we've got our box, but we've also got some funny little lines around it, and what these are showing essentially is the path that the printer's going to take when it goes through and prints the object. And we can see the layers, and this is where I was saying before that it can be useful to move this around. And now also I'll just zoom in a little bit, and we can see the expected print layers when we're making that print there. So here on the right, these are all the G-code instructions that tell us what it's meant to do, and quite nicely a lot of the commands have some little instructions on the side, or little descriptors telling you what it's all about. And down at the bottom here we've got the log, which will show us what's actually happening, and it gives us an idea of what's needed. So 143, so about 14.5 centimeters, almost, yes, of the filament, which is not much. We can easily get a lot higher than that. We've got our blue filament ready, and so we're going to go with that. Next we get to the print panel. Now on the top left of the screen we've got a connect button, so we're going to connect to the printer, and there we go, connection opened, and we can see that it's ready. It'll show us the firmware down there. It's on Marlin version 1. There are some controllers here. These will allow us to move the printer around. I only really adjust them when I'm just moving the head out the way after I've had an either successful or stuffed up print. And you can probably guess which one happens more often. Down here are some important things. You'll see the heated bed. I'm going to turn this on, and this is going to start the bed where the print will actually be extruded onto. It'll heat that up. I've been setting it to 100 degrees Celsius. There's also the extruder one. I tend to turn that on a bit later because, quite frankly, it heats up much, much faster Now, the Solidoodle 2 does not have a fan, which is controlled by this, so we'll just leave that one completely alone. There's not much point touching it. In the 3D view area, one of the other options we have here in the print panel is the temperature curve. This is very useful to get a feel for what's happening and give you an idea, I suppose, as well, or how long it's going to take to print. You can sort of see it's just slowly warming its way up there. The blue one here is the print bed, the red one is the extruder. And I'm really hoping that that is blue. I'm colorblind and I'm now thinking, is that green? But anyway, you get the feel for it. Down in the bottom left, you'll also see the temperature readings for the extruder there and for the bed. And so again, we can also see the bed slowly heating up. What's going to happen is, as soon as the bed is getting close enough, I'm going to just click here, turn the extruder on, get that one preheating up, and the moment that's all ready, I'm going to go and press the run button over here in the top left. And so I'll be back with you shortly and we'll see how it's all going. So an actual print did occur, but I think it's fair to say it was a relative failure. You could see at the start that the bottom didn't adhere properly to the Captain tape. Also, I think it had an excessive level of flow, too much filament was coming through. And I think as it was going around, each layer was so short that it didn't have time to cool down and adhere properly before the next one came.